So as you know, my title is What My Mother Could Have Done. And as you know, my name is Agianah Hussein, Gigi for short. I am an ambassador for JENTUBY. Almost about a year now, I feel like I've been here. I'm just seeing God's hand move like all over. I mean, it's just supernatural what God does. And I want to really give a big thanks for Jennifer just for never overlooking me, but seeing exactly who I was, even in my seasons where I was dry or not really there. She saw somebody, she saw my soul when I didn't even see it. So, thank you, Jennifer. Okay. A brief overview of what I'm going to be talking about, as you know, is what my mother could have done. And in this speech, I will be discussing abuse, trauma, healing, faith, and redemption. So thank you all for being here. I'm going to dive right in. I want to begin by speaking about my childhood. I grew up in an unsafe, abusive, messy, dirty home. The aura of my childhood home was beyond negative. My father was a very hostile and abusive man. Whenever he got home, everyone was quiet. We waited in anticipation of what would happen. My mother was deeply affected by this. We all were. My siblings and I were just little innocent souls who had no idea how to comprehend such evil. Okay, I'm going to speak on what I went through and how it affected me. Between the ages of 2 and 5, I was sexually molested and sexually harassed by my dad. And you know what? I'm happy I'm crying, because it shows healing isn't always beautiful. He had taught me that self-pleasure and being harassed was completely normal behavior for someone my age. I couldn't understand the severity of it then, but once I grew a bit older, I began to understand. My father was supposed to be someone I could trust, to always keep me, protect me, guard me, and most importantly, love me. I realized he wasn't that type of man at all. He taught me to hate myself, to over-sexualize myself, and be treated as a victim rather than a daughter. I grew up craving sexual intimacy with somebody, anybody. I had a bad identity crisis, which led me to trying to find love and intimacy in toxic relationships. I truly began to hate myself and wondered why I was put on this earth. I became severely depressed, anxious, and suicidal. I believed the lie, if my own father doesn't love me, then I truly am not lovable. I became so isolated and so different from other kids. A lot of them had a favorite sport, friend group, boyfriends and girlfriends, rich parents, big homes, hobbies, and much more. Meanwhile, I just had myself. I had some friends in school, but I mostly kept to myself. I felt so misunderstood. Wherever I went, there was nobody like my story. I felt I was the only one as a kid whose father hurt them, and it was so hard to make friends. I was so lonely and mentally exhausted that I turned to maladaptive daydreaming to escape my reality. For those of you who don't know, maladaptive daydreaming is defined as a condition where a person experiences vivid, immersive daydreams that consume hours of their time and disrupt daily life. That is where I felt the safest, right in my imaginations. Why? Because I could actually control what happened in those daydreams and keep me safe from bad endings. Abuse had a bad effect on me. What I shared with you was only the tip of the iceberg. There was so much more underneath that was happening. I want to shift the focus now to my faith. My mom was Roman Catholic. You are a survivor. You begin to question, become oversensitive, and you begin to question your identity. And I know I have. If I'm being honest, I have been. And that's when you spoke and you said that, I knew that was God speaking to me, telling me I'm not too far gone, that I'm just in survival mode. I need to learn just to let God be God in my life. So to all my women out here who may have had fathers who haven't been a father to you, I want to tell you that God is your Father, and He will never hurt you, use you, replace you. He knew what He was getting into when He called you. He knew your baggage, He knew what happened, and you know what? He didn't want that to happen to you. But let me tell you something. He's the God who uses what was meant to go against you for your good. Amen. For your good. So this is just a story of redemption, and you can do it. You can heal. I forever have Him to carry my burdens and love me as a father should. Now, accepting Him didn't make all my problems go away. It caused my problems to bow down and know that He is bigger and will always make a way. My last point I want to speak on is about my mom. Oof. As I've stated earlier, everyone was affected by my father. My mom took most of it. When my dad was angry, he'd beat her. When my dad was upset, he'd beat her. When my dad was in a good mood, he'd find reasons to be upset and beat her. My mom was a literal punching bag for my dad. She was so traumatized by him that she would tread carefully around his presence. She couldn't stand up or be there for herself, so how could she be there for her children in her time of distress? She was broken, she was beaten down, she was belittled. Still, even then, there were things she could have done differently. I held her to such a high standard. I was heavily opinionated on the fact that she could and should have done better for me, for my siblings, for herself. I took away her human nature or feelings and replaced them with bold opinions. I took away her brokenness and replaced hers with mine. I forgot she was all the more human and felt things just like I did. Just because she's my mom doesn't mean she can't feel like I do. She's not unbreakable. She's as fragile as a clay jar as we all are. All of this the Lord had revealed to me. I realized I was so wrong for the judgment I placed on her. However, as I've stated before, there were still things she could have done better, and I'll name a few things. Number one, reading the room. When my dad showed her his true colors, hurting her, she would have acknowledged something was wrong and pushed concern about her children if they were safe instead of assuming they were safe. Number two, taking action. Although proof was hard, she could have ran to friends, family, help centers, CPS, police, etc. She had to bring to light what was happening, not just waiting for the right time to start. Number three, ask questions and document. She could have recorded a conversation between her and her children about the topic of safety. If she got a testimony of the dad's abuse, she had enough proof to go to court. Number four, watch before commitment. Before she married my dad, she should have taken a closer look. My dad was coming from Pakistan. He urged her to settle down so he could become a legal citizen. If someone is forcing marriage to become a legal person, that's the first red flag. And now the conclusion. This is my story. And I will never be ashamed to speak about what I went through and how I've overcome and still am overcoming. And it's not an easy walk. I think one of the biggest things anybody can struggle with